I know you don't like it, but I will say it. You are one of the best principals that I have met in my years of travel.
Education being the prime motive at home.
What makes Asana Nafis the Asana Nafis?
It's been a journey of learning and balancing professional and personal life. Leadership is not about just central control, it's about empowering others to become leaders.
The way you conduct yourself and the way you are worldly aware and approachable, progressive. Indian institutions also now are coming up really well.
The new age universities, like you have really identified and brought changes, learning by doing.
Who should be a teacher and who should not be a teacher?
So,
Hi, welcome back. This is Ankur Vora, your host for Intersect by Masters Union podcast series. Today we have with us Miss Asana Nafis, the dynamic principal at DPS Modern Indian School, Doha, Qatar. Welcome, ma'am. It's an honor for us to host you here today.
thank you very much, and my thanks are due to Masters Union. And this is not my first visit to your
Yes.
campus. This is the second one. I've been here as a panelist during the Intersect 3, and it's been a wonderful experience.
And you and me go back 10 years. I mean, I remember coming to your school when I was part of, I think, Ashoka. Yes, Ashoka. And traveled a lot in the Gulf. I mean, all the 6 GCC countries I have traveled, and I think almost 60 to 70 CBSE schools. And given that experience, and I'm not talking about the rest of the travels that I have done across Africa, Southeast Asia, South Asia, I know you don't like it, but I will say it. You are one of the best principals that I have met in my years of travel, and especially, I mean, in GCC region, I think you are one person that I really look up to, and there is a
Thank you
close
very much.
community of my favorite principals in GCC of you. You are also friends with, so we are very happy that you could take time out. You have been a dear friend of Masters Union. You have been at Intersect. Had spoken at a couple of panels with us, and I think you enjoyed your experience here.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoyed the experience, especially the landscape of Masters Union, the way it connects various stakeholders in education and higher education. It does definitely make a difference.
And I was there at your Silver Jubilee in April. I mean, it was an
Yes,
amazing experience being
thank
at
you
your
very
school.
much for being the speaker at our AI in
Loved it.
education, because when we envisioned the Silver Jubilee celebrations that DPS Modern Indian School is celebrating this academic session, I remember talking to my school management and saying we would kickstart the event with educators. And we were lucky enough to have 5 powerful
Beautiful.
speakers, students from grade 12 who were, the panel members. And we had about 600 plus educators from the state of Qatar. And it really felt, worth the investment, because the feedback that we received was purely bliss to hear, and people were very happy.
Amazing. And I had a fantastic time, meeting your leaders, your teachers, your students. I mean, everything that day was perfect. So
Thank
more
you.
power to you. Now, as we do at Intersect by Masters Union, this podcast series, we are very informal, and
Great.
we like to go a bit deeper into the personalities behind the leaders that you are. I mean, you are a dynamic leader and were celebrated within your community, outside your community, in the larger educators community that I come from. But I want to take a step back today and understand your own personal and professional journey.
Right.
Uh,
So,
what makes Asana Nafis the Asana Nafis that we know
Right.
today? Your early years, early years, which city you grew up in, and education. Please, ma'am.
yeah. So, I've been blessed that I was born in a city which is, very strong culturally. I'm born in Hyderabad. But at the same time, I was equally blessed to have been brought up in Vishakhapatnam, where my Baba worked for Coromandel Fertilizers. And we belong to the generation when you had, a lot of siblings. And we also grew up in a small compound, which was a microcosm or a representation of India. So very early in life, we realized that there are culturally diverse people in the world, and that when you intersect with them, you learn a lot. So growing up, we grew up in a home where we were pretty blessed to have parents who understood the value of education. So both my parents often spoke to us saying that, you get educated, and what you make out of it is your choice. You don't have to invest in anything else other than education. So we got educated in English medium schools, and we were blessed to have a home that read extensively, that spoke a lot on current geopolitical situations, on history, on geography, on religion. So, as young children, I remember Ami would finish her work and sit and read to us in Urdu,
Wow.
our mother tongue. And she read books that were a cross section of, liberalism, socialism, Marxism, Leninism, religion, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, everything she read to us. And being those young little children, in our mind's eye, we were able to be, very creative and understand how the world operates. At the same time, we had a very healthy balance of Baba, who listened as though it was his lifeline to BBC Urdu radio. And probably when the Afghan war was happening, when the Russians left, the Americans came in our mind eye, we could, create a picture of how Afghanistan probably looked. So Baba was also a great storehouse of knowledge on Indian history, geography, and the railways. I don't know from where he had learned those things. And sometimes we were put to test when we grew up and we started traveling. बेटा आपने broad gauge use किया, narrow gauge use किया, and we used to wonder from where Baba got this knowledge. But he was very respected, and my mother was equally respected. The entire colony's kids would come, sit with them, listen to them. So having been brought up in a home where we were, treated very, very differently. Like we were gender equals. Our brother and us, we were treated very equally, 4 sisters and a brother. And there was this whole concept of education being the prime motive at home. And it need not have been only from books. It came from extended, reading of other material. So we were lucky enough, I would say, in that sense, that the school where we studied, it believed in a lot of extracurricular activities. We did a lot of sports, a lot of other activities, and theater, singing, dancing, everything happened. And in that little microcosm, we also realized that it's just not we who exist. There are a lot of other people who exist, and there could be different, viewpoints, and we need to respect that viewpoint. So we grew up in a very happy place, and Baba kept sending us for education beyond our grade 12 to universities to colleges. So all the 4 of us, sisters and our brother, my late brother was with the Air Force in the missiles wing. So we all have done well for ourselves.
Yeah. God bless you. So this is all happening in Visakhapatnam?
Yes, this was all in Visakhapatnam. I grew up to the age of 18, and to break taboos, I was married at 18, and I continued. And I continued my education, and I would thank my in-laws and my husband for having understood the desire.
And education for you was in college?
I think I was in my second year BSc. I just wrote my examination. I got married. I continued my BSc, my post-graduation,
in Visakhapatnam?
I moved up to my graduation. I completed in �WISAC. My post-graduation in Hyderabad, where my in-laws and husband lived. And again, my degree in education when I had my second baby, and along with the baby, I managed.
Wow.
So it's been a journey of learning and balancing professional and personal life.
I mean, that's what, now, thank you for sharing that. Now I know where that global outlook comes in you. Yeah, that's what the difference is. When I talk to you, you can confidently talk about different aspects of world.
Absolutely. That's been probably part of the upbringing that we have.
Your father gave you. Yeah. So God bless his soul. Now, coming to, so early years were beautiful, and you were, growing up in a very intellectually stimulated environment.
And I think that also adds on to the fact that being in a country like India, you learn so many languages because you are exposed to those, and if you're interested. So currently, I can converse in about 6 languages, which makes me, makes my life way easier.
So like
Urdu, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, and English.
That's beautiful.
But I would credit the Tamil and Malayalam to being married to a person who traveled to those places. So having been living in those parts of India, there was no choice but to learn the local language.
So amazing. I think definitely it helps to
It
know
helps a
6
lot, especially
languages.
if I'm seated in the Gulf where you
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
cross section
Cross
of
section of
Indians, and
India,
especially those from the south of
South.
India.
Yeah.
It does make my job way easier.
Okay. So now coming to your early professional career,
Yeah.
was teaching in your top career choices?
As I was growing up, and I think those were those good old days when we had the competition success review coming home, and I used to read that, and I used to always desire that I should be the collector of some district someday.
Okay.
So probably there was always this desire to be a change maker, to be a person who's empowered to bring change. And parallelly, I also looked up to my school principal, who was a woman in these early 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, working very hard, a single woman, working very hard to educate a whole population of, people. And whenever I looked at her, I used to think that she wields a lot of, power to bring change. And she did impact lives. Today, the alumni of St. Andrews, Visakhapatnam are all over the world. And I'm a proud alumnus of that school.
Okay.
So I had, at the same time, my parents who, were always role models where values were concerned. So Baba and Ami always taught us that you don't have to rush towards anything. What is destined to come your way will come your way. Just follow the basic values that are required in life. So we were trained in integrity, being honest, being modest, being humble. These were things that came naturally to us because we saw role models at home. So while growing up, we read a lot. So I always had this at the back of my mind that I should become a IS officer. So I did start working towards it, but destiny had something else in mind. And today I don't regret not being an IS officer and being the principal of a school, being an educator, being a teacher, because I think I have greater control on what I am doing, and I'm able to put my thoughts into action in a bigger way without actually being worried about where it would impact, because it impacts change, and I'm
Yeah.
very proud of it.
Yeah. And we are very proud that you
So
are.
I did start, I was selected for a free scholarship training for IS, but
Okay.
my firstborn, Ibrahim, was on the way. So I had to give up that choice and move to the second one.
Okay.
But today I do never regret what ever happened. It happened for the best.
Absolutely. And you're doing some fantastic work, and we are happy
Absolutely.
that you came our way in education. So, so what were your early journey like in terms of jobs? I mean, you were teaching at which school?
I just started with part-time teaching, and I used to enjoy helping children. But the actual professional journey
Yeah.
started in a very strange way.
Yeah.
I remember being transferred to Kerala, not knowing a word of Malayalam, and with my little kid who was seeking admission in grade 3 in the mid of the academic session. And I would be jumping from one school to another, hunting for a position, a place for him. And every school would say, no, he has to learn Malayalam. And I used to wonder how he would learn Malayalam in grade 3.
3.
And I was lucky enough, I walked up to one school, and the principal there gave me a good reception, spoke to me for some time and said, sorry, regret, we do not have a seat available for your child. And I was pretty upset about it, but we continued conversing because conversation came naturally and both of us were comfortable talking. After a while, she just mentioned that, you know what, I just mentioned that we don't have a seat. In fact, we have 2 seats. And I said, but my little one is so young, he's a year and 8 months old, so how would he fit into the school? She said, no, why don't you join our school? I see a teacher
Okay.
in you.
Okay.
And thanks to Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Ramachandran of Cochin Public School, who identified that there's a teacher, and putting it into my perspective that a little young child should not come to school, instead should go to a play school, because I was very worried being new to this place where I was living. Where would I leave my little child? And she mentioned that you must put him in a play school or put him in a crèche, but not bring to school, because for the child it would become very mundane listening to the same thing again and again. So thanks to her that I started teaching, and it's very strange. I started teaching a class of completely students who spoke Malayalam, and I was teaching them Hindi and English, both not my subjects. I'm a major in sciences, zoology and botany are my majors, but the principal felt that the Hindi that I knew and the English that I knew would be fairly good enough to handle young children of grade 1, 2, and 3. So I started my career in Kerala from teaching, kindergarten, from teaching class 1 to 3 students, English and Hindi. And there have been hilarious situations in the
I'm
classroom
sure. Because
I
you didn't
knew-
know Malayalam at that
I
point
didn't
of
know
time.
Malayalam, and everybody in the class did speak Malayalam. When I spoke Hindi, they spoke Malayalam back to me. And yeah, we adjusted and learned how to handle it. Being patient with children and being kind enough, I sailed through that situation.
Teaching language and also when you don't know the other person's language is very tough.
It's been fun. I've had very, very funny situations of not understanding what they were saying.
So this was Cochin Public School?
This is Cochin Public School in Cochin.
Cochin. And how long you were there?
I think I was there for about 3 years, and then my husband was on a transfer to. He was not very sure. There was a transfer in the offing, and I kept applying because I thought probably to Gujarat that he would be transferred to, or back to Andhra, or back to Tamil Nadu. We were not very sure. And something within me made me feel that it's important to apply to schools which are very progressive in the thought process. So I applied only to corporate schools.
Okay.
So I remember getting a call from Reliance Industries, from Nagarjuna Fertilizers, getting call from TVS.
Okay.
But fortunately, he had moved to Tamil Nadu, Madurai. So TVS is where
Yeah, I've been there. TVS.
it's a large
It's a
school
large
with
school,
a very, very progressive thought
Yeah,
process,
yeah.
way ahead of time. So
Yeah,
I was lucky that I joined an institution that saw the spark of leadership in me. If Mrs. Vijay saw a teacher in me, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, the principal of TVS, Lakshmi saw a leader in me.
Okay.
So I grew up the ladder very quickly, and it was a new school. It was an ICSE school. I chose to be in a new environment rather than the school which is already established, the matriculation school, which is 30 years plus established in TVS and was giving very good results. But I chose a upcoming school, and I grew along with the school, and I think that was such a blessing. My children grew along with the school. I grew along with the school. And within 2 years, I moved up the ladder as the leader of grade 6 to 12, with a lot of teachers reporting, a lot of innovation happening at the school. So when people were still quite unaware of what, probably technology is, 2001, 2002, we already had, smart screens inside the classroom, and the owners believed in technology and its use. So way ahead of times, I would say.
I had also the good honor of visiting TVS group of schools, I think 3 years back, and fantastic work. I mean, I went to Madurai only for TVS group of schools, and we did.
They have a large number of
We
schools.
organized, I was working with CIALFO, we organized a university fair, went to a lot of their schools. I think there are more than.
They have about 7 schools.
Seven
The TVS Lakshmi, where I worked, was the ICSE school, and it caters to various, financial strata of
Fantastic
society.
work. Thank you. So, I mean, and you were there, so this is, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. Okay, so then TVS, and then that is where you learned Tamil?
Yeah, that's how I at TVS, I wouldn't say I learned a lot of Tamil because it was more of a school that was, catering to the upper strata or the economically, well-settled strata of society. But then I was, I think, about 6 years old to TVS, had been promoted up the ladder. A lot of management training was given to us. They invested heavily on training staff. They always believed that you have to stop thinking as a teacher and start thinking as a leader once you move up the ladder. So having tie-ups with Suzuki, a lot of Japanese trainers, management trainers, and others who used to come and train us for weeks together. Even before CBSE came up with the process of, teachers should be trained, teachers should get all that. TBS was doing all that long time ago. And I was at home one evening and I got a call from a residential school saying, "We've heard a lot about you. Please attend an interview for the principal's position." I was, I think, about 34, 35 years old.
Okay.
And I was like, how did you come to know about me? And without a CV, without any this thing, they said, "No, we've heard a lot about you in Madurai and we'd like you to attend this interview." So I put my foot down saying I'm not keen on moving out of TVS because I'm very comfortable and doing a lot of good work. So the call kept coming for 7 days, and I remember calling
7 days.
Yeah, every morning, every evening, I would get a call, and every time I would have some new excuse. The 7th night, I called my father-in-law and I said, "Baba, I've got a call like this." He said, "I think only fools don't take up opportunities that knock their door. Attend the interview. Then I called my own Baba, and he also told something similar to this, saying that बार बार मौके नहीं आते बेटा, give it a try. Why do you think that you're not capable when people are calling and asking you for it? So I remember attending the interview and saying a no to the interview finally when I got up. I said, no, I'm
Okay.
not joining. And the owner was like a person who was really persistent. She looked at the manager and said, Amma is joining. Give her the keys. Give her whatever she wants to
Wow.
run this institution. And then I really felt that they trust me so much, they believe me so much. So it's good that I take up the responsibilities. I took up the responsibility. And I think I was there for 5 years, brought a complete turnover to the school.
Which school was this?
This is Crescent School. It is run by ETA-SCON group of industries. And basically the presence is more in Dubai and in the Gulf region. So early
And this school is
70s. This was in Madurai,
Madurai.
On the outskirts of Madurai. And I should say thanks to my family for having stood with me, because if I stayed at the campus, it was a large, it was a big decision for all of us, because the kids and my husband had to travel all the time to the city, and which was like up and down 70 kilometers, and they did it
Okay.
every day. So thanks to that support and the support of the school management, I did bring a lot of changes in the institution. And I reached a point where I was feeling I'm not contributing anything new to the growth of this institution. And that's when I got a call again one evening from the DPS Doha, saying,
Okay.
we know you are the principal, but there's a vice principal position open. Why don't you apply for it? And I had very comfortably replied, no, I am not interested in traveling abroad, because my kids are growing up and they need my presence. And the kind voice on the other side was of Dr. Munawar Nainar, who is a founder member of DPS. And he had heard a lot about me from his niece, whose teacher I was at TBS, saying that I've heard a lot about you and you'd like you to, apply for this position. And the wisdom that he had, when people, I feel that wisdom comes only out of experience. He said, did I offer you a job? I'm just asking you to apply and attend an interview. It's destiny whether you would be selected, not selected. And if you get selected, you can always say a no and feel good about it. So why are you stopping yourself from applying? I'm giving you 24 hours, apply for this job. And I sat back in those good old days when, the internet used to be so slow.
So,
I sat till 12, 1 in the night, applied for the job. I didn't think much about it, but then I got a call. I attended an interview in Delhi, and there were 17 members who were attending the interview, and all of them were from DPS. And I had no DPS connect anywhere. But destiny was
wow.
written.
And which year
that,
was this?
This was 15 years ago.
15 years ago. And
2010.
2010. And you attended that interview?
I
and you
attended the
got
interview,
through?
I got through, and I was very clear I wouldn't join till I did a proper handover in this institution, because I believe that, you can't run away midway, especially if you're in a leadership position. So I informed the current management, did the entire handing over, took 3 months' time to settle down the whole system with another person, and then left for Doha.
For Doha.
And I remember when I took the flight to Doha, my kids were in Hyderabad. So I had tears in my eyes and I told, 2 saal beta, uske baad wapas, I'm coming back. My 2 years have turned to 15 and I'm so happy what I'm doing in DPS Doha. DPS Doha has given me that space, to put into action all my ideas and concepts that I had on education. So it has been a great learning field for me.
So you had no experience of DPS?
Absolutely no experience
And
of
absolutely no experience outside of India. You were now
No, it was my first overseas assignment. My first with a branded school,
Wow.
and I had no idea what I was getting into. But I think I did the right thing, the leap
we
of
know
faith.
you have done
And
a fantastic job, but just to go back 15 years, at that point of time when you were leaving, so correct me if I'm wrong, you were following your husband most of the times when you were
yeah, it
changing
was
jobs?
always his job
Yeah.
that would be transferable, and I would move along.
Yes.
It was the first time that I was
You
moving.
were moving.
I moved out, and the children were still in India. Especially the younger one, he was in grade 8, moving to 9, and I was very concerned
Very
at how he
concerned
would
as a
manage.
mother, yeah.
But I think
And you
when
took that
destiny is written,
leap of
things,
faith.
yeah, the leap of faith, and things, the jigsaw puzzle falls in place. And
So tell me now, we come to Doha and Qatar, the place I know you from. So what were your initial years in
yeah,
DPS? You were the vice
I still
principal.
remember I joined in as the vice principal because it was, I could feel that, they're taking me in that position just to observe me and then move me up the ladder. But yes, I stepped one down and moved as the principal of an entire school because the residential school was from 6 to 12. So I had absolutely no idea of leading a primary school, which is actually the feeder section. So this was a great opportunity. I jumped into it and I did join in. And about a year, I think, I served as the vice principal, then the acting principal, officiating principal, and then the acting principal, and then the principal. So it took about a year and 3 months or something for
So
that to
definitely they
happen.
were checking you out and
Yeah, there
how
was
she'll
already a principal at
principal.
school. So by the time ma'am was around, I was still a vice principal. And I was learning the ropes of what it takes to be in a larger organization. The school strength was about 3,000 plus at that point of time. And the school had everything in place. But then once I took up, I brought in a lot of changes, impacted, positively things, strengthening things that were already happening and bringing up new ideas. So currently, we are recognized as one of the top schools, just not in Qatar, but in the entire GCC.
Absolutely.
And just in the recent past, the Ministry of Education has awarded us a 5 years of quality accreditation, which is an outstanding accreditation, which not many schools can boast of. So we are very proud that whatever we are doing, it's in line with the state of Qatar as well as with the country that we belong to, that's India. So CBSE also recognizes what we do, and the last 14 years we've got toppers in the state of Qatar as well as multiple number of times in the Gulf region. However, as the head, I always take pride in what we do for inclusion. So the year 2014 got me a phone call from the then HRD minister saying that, congratulations, you have a topper. And I'm like, I've checked the results, I don't have a topper. She said, no, your topper is in the special needs category, and that's why
Okay.
this phone call.
Wow.
We are extremely proud of what work you're doing, and your topper is in the entire CBSE special needs. She is the topper.
Wow.
And I remember the child had got 94.6 percentage, and that was recognized by the CBSE with a letter of appreciation, a phone call to the student, to the parents. And I was just thinking for a moment that it took so much courage and so much of persistence and patience to convince the parent to register the child on the special needs. And here was a child topping the entire CBSE
Beautiful.
special needs.
Beautiful.
It's still a taboo topic. Inclusion is still a taboo
Yeah,
topic.
it is. It is a difficult topic.
It's a
and-
very difficult topic.
Yeah.
Still, parents want to live in a state of denial.
Yeah.
And as the years, these 15 years have progressed, I've only realized post-COVID that there's more such cases, and a lot of intense work has to be done to help those children normalize and get
Yeah.
into the mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. But just a couple of reflections on your early years in Doha, because it was a new place, new institution. You were on your own. Family was back in India.
Yes,
So
yes.
some memorable experiences
Yeah,
at that point of time.
I
early
remember when
years?
I was traveling to Doha, I had to explain to people where Doha was.
Definitely.
And the easiest way out was, वो दुबई के बहुत करीब है.
हाँ.
दुबई नहीं है पर दुबई के बहुत करीब है, because everybody knew Dubai.
Dubai.
Doha was still
Yeah.
a country. Qatar was still a country that was not very much on the world
the radar.
map. Yeah. And then slowly, steadily, people started recognizing Doha when they won the FIFA World Cup.
World Cup,
And
yeah.
that was in 2012, December. And I remember the whole country was out on the streets jubilating, winning the rights to, host this event. And I've seen Doha transform completely from the days when I landed to a country which is completely, very, very well organized in its infrastructure, its policies. What I feel I gained in this country is the country has a great love for its, its value systems, its traditions, its culture. which is so akin to what India is.
Hmm.
It's the same sort of, feel.
Yeah.
And I remember that initial few years, yes, I used to feel, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
It's a place it was very new, so you have your battles, to fight out.
To fight,
Because,
yeah.
to get people to think in line with what you have, creating a team for yourself. So by 2012, I was completely in control of the school, and then I created a team slowly, steadily. I must give it to my team that they are a wonderful set of people. My vice principals, Miss Soma, Miss Shifa, the former vice principal, Miss Mary, all of them understand what we are doing. Mr. Patra, the manager facilities. So when you have, leadership is not about just central control. It's about empowering others to become leaders so that they are passionate enough and they deliver at that level. Your job is way, way more relaxed when you're not into everything.
Yeah.
But you have people who are passionate
About their jobs.
about
and
their
roles
jobs.
in the
And I
institution.
think we have enough and more leaders at DPS who are passionate about their jobs, and all the teachers, they are wonderful people.
Wonderful. And for viewers who may not know it, the large Indian community that you serve.
Oh yes, the diversity and the type of representation that India
Representation.
has. So remember moving 2012-13 to the new campus, purpose designed campus where you have visited, and we were 3,200 or 3,100 plus children, and then within 2 years we moved up to almost 6,000 students, and still had a large wait list where it was a clear, stamping of the idea that our school is doing very well and it's well recognized. So another sister school was opened up, after which we still have a wait list, and so a third school is opening up. So
Yeah, I
it's
remember.
I'm so happy that what work we do at DPS is
Iconic.
well recognized
I
at the mother school.
have seen the growth that your institution has had over the last 10 years. Actively, I have been visiting
Yes.
Doha, and then yes, you mentioned both me and Swati were there. 1 year back, and then I was there in April,
Yes.
and we know the demand for
Huge
your
demand, huge
school
demand.
and the team that you have built,
Yeah.
the infrastructure that you have built. It's amazing.
And it's like there could be a demand, but the respect that we have
Yes.
gained over these
Yeah.
years, so we are the most preferred school, whether it's the Indian Embassy or any other top
Yes.
officials who get to Doha. So right from India, they start following up with us that we want admission at your school. We have heard a lot about the leadership, the team. So it's the culture that we have set, the traditions. Any organization, I think, is recognized more because of its culture. And we always say it's a happy school, which is a family. So even as large as 6,000, we are a family.
And we also have a student from your school who
Yes,
is
we
studying
have
with
one
us at
studying
Master's
here.
Union. So
And we
amazing
had students
student
who participated in your
in HSL,
yes,
the startup league, high school
startup
startup
high
league.
school. Yeah.
So amazing. We are so happy, and personally, I'm a deep admirer of what you have done at TPS, and the way you conduct yourself, and the way you are worldly aware and approachable, progressive. I remember in OP Jindal we hosted the
Oh yes,
teacher
there are
training program
teacher
when
training,
I was
and a lot of
there.
our teachers had
Had
visited.
stayed with us in OP Jindal Global University for 3 days, and that shows the vision that you have
Yeah.
for development of your
And
teachers.
I would say that is one of the reasons why we started with AI for teachers, because um, through my career I've learned a lot of things. One is, as you move up the ladder, it's better to gain a lot of training as a leader, as management. Then the pandemic happened, then we realized how technology can impact change. And then I believe that if we do not embrace AI, we will be missing out on
Yes.
something. So it's not about any one individual, but as an institution, what are we doing towards it? So we have created something which is called as a steering committee. So every month we add on to the number of apps that we are using. We keep talking to teachers. We have a lot of training programs that are happening, because I believe that if this train is missed out, we'll miss out a lot.
Absolutely. Again, you're one of those few rare high school leaders that have identified already that this is the future and are already working on
at
it.
my own personal level, I have started with training myself also on AI. I'll be sitting with somebody during this visit to Delhi also
Oh, wow.
to work further on it, because at the end of the day, your vision and your, I would say your larger vision on what the institution should be 10 years from now is very important. It impacts change.
Amazing, amazing. So now, I also want to touch upon, we are sitting at Masters Union and we were just discussing this. I mean, I was in Boston last week
Yes,
attending,
yes.
visiting top
I do follow
universities.
what you're doing.
Yeah, thank
what
you so
you're
much.
doing.
But I was in Tufts, Harvard, and UMass, and all these top institutions, and we were talking about, what is the ROI question that our parents and students ask about
Yeah.
universities, and we were just discussing it before we came here that the Indian institutions also now are coming up really well. So, what is the take in Doha, Qatar for your community of parents and students? What are they looking at?
I would just correct you a little. I think the higher education scene in India has always been really very good.
Wonderful.
We are way ahead of
Wonderful.
many countries
Thank you.
where higher education is concerned, and we have been embracing a lot of subjects and majors. The only thing that I would say, that the new age universities like you have really identified and brought change is learning by doing.
Yeah.
And learning by doing is something that we focus on even at our school. So once I had taken up the school and had complete charge of the school, I remember bringing major changes where it concerns the high school. Like if you would have seen the AI conference where you
Yeah.
were one of the speakers, we had flipped the way things were being
Yeah.
done. Our students were panelists.
That panel was
talking-
amazing, the student
Yeah.
panel that you
So
did.
that's exactly a small glimpse of
I
what
learned so
we
much
do.
from your students.
And we empower our students to do things and learn. So we have the longest running TEDx event in the state of Qatar,
Yes.
run by our students. We have an entrepreneurship challenge, which is again 4 years we have been conducting this, and you are kind enough to
Yes.
appoint a few judges for the event,
Yes, we were there.
inter-school
to partner
event.
you.
We have clubs that are very, very active. And I was just the other day, I was at Shiv Nadar and they were mentioning that, so do you do a blog? Do you do a podcast? And we are way ahead of times. I feel our students do everything. And it is they who take the lead. It's teachers are just there to rein in and control. Other than that, it's students who take the lead. We have finished large number of podcasts, and some of the highlights of the podcasts are being able to interview or call in on the podcast the Ambassador of India, His Excellency Mr.
Okay.
Vipul,
Wow.
by our students, the former Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and the current President of the Qatar National Library, His Excellency Abdul Aziz. So there are lots of things that our children are doing, and I'm so proud of it. And art is a very big scene at our school. We push ourselves beyond the limits. And we have a large number of art installations, which are collaborative art installations between students and teachers. And time and again, the ministry invites us when they have events to, display this work. It's a moment of pride when the Ministry of Education, State of Qatar, invites you as a school and says that we know you have the ability to do this. Why don't you display some of
Yes.
your artwork? And also that I'm so privileged that I have been a member of the Permanent Advisory Committee on Private Schools at the Ministry of Education and Higher Education. So I sit for meetings every...
Yeah, I saw that on
min-
your LinkedIn profile.
every... it could be a monthly meeting or more than that, where we get to meet the Undersecretary and, given our input being private schools from the state, from the Indian diaspora, represent a diaspora which is, having a heavy population. We are the most in numbers. Indians are the most in numbers when you look at the demography of Qatar. So we are a large number of us, and we cater to a large number of students.
Yeah, and that's why we love your school and you as a person, because you believe in learn by doing, and that is what we are all about. At
Currently, I
Masters
also
Union.
I'm the president of the Qatar Sahodaya of
The CBSE Gulf
principals.
Sahodaya.
Yes, and soon we'll be having our conference.
Yes. And I also remember reading about that you met the Indian MP's delegation that was in
yes.
Qatar. Yeah.
I think that's something that comes with working abroad, especially in a small country. you're respected as a community leader, and you almost have a celebrity status, and
Yeah, I saw your
it really
photograph with
feels very good.
Honorable Supriya Shule ji.
Yeah, that's what I always take the opportunity to thank the school management for creating an institution.
And you were also recognized by the Ministry of
the
Higher
Ministry
Education.
of Higher Education for being a permanent advisory member in the
Amazing.
committee.
So happy. When I keep seeing those posts, I'm so happy.
And that's on my personal front, but I'm so happy for the institution because this institution keeps getting recognition every now and then from the ministry and from the CBSE, especially being an Indian school and being able to create that sense of, change. And I remember when the audit happened, the quality audit happened, and when the results were given and we were awarded outstanding, I had spoken to the head of the audit committee, and he said that, your school made us think beyond what we normally thought about Indian institutions. We always saw Indian institutions as centers of academic excellence. But your school actually is doing holistic growth of every single child, the last child not left out in your school. So we were forced to relook, and we debated a lot and then gave you the outstanding, because yours becomes one of the rare schools that is thinking out of the box.
And I think absolutely, and from coming back also just to touch upon that aspect of the university choices.
Yes.
And I'm saying from my experience when I started doing outreach in Middle East for Ashoka, and I started talking about holistic liberal arts and all these things that were like, it was almost falling on deaf ears in Middle East. Very few principals actually understood. I still remember in one of the leading schools in Dubai, I won't name the school, and I remember this was 2015. I went there and landed in Dubai, and I went to this school, and the principal was there, and principals was looking at me like I'm talking, what is he talking about? My kids only go to IITs, medical, and you're talking about liberal arts and interdisciplinary education, holistic learning. And so I think from 2015 to 2025, you were always,
I have always believed that knowledge cannot be in watertight compartments. It has to be connected. It is connected naturally. And something that you learn in physics, probably you learn also in music. So something you learn in art has to be applied in maths.
To add here, I was at MIT. I met a Japanese student who was giving me a campus tour, and he said, I am studying physics with music. And I asked him,
I have a student who's doing that.
And in MIT, they have a special department for music. And I asked him, why music? He said, because all of us are maths, physics, chemistry, science is connected to music. So I said, it's so obvious that the #1 university in the world, they have a music school, along with teaching physics, chemistry, and maths. And that is what we were also talking about when we were talking about Ashoka. But you resonate with it, definitely.
Definitely,
I don't need to convince you.
Two of my students are at the Berkeley Music School. Studied physics, studied music, studied economics, combinations like that.
Wonderful.
And they're doing well for them.
And I think just to close this conversation off, what I meant was a lot of NRIs in Middle East. Yes, there is a large population that comes back to India, but I won't say, but there is also a large population that is always looking at US, UK, and Canada for immigration purposes and settling down and not looking at Indian institutions. But I think what has changed in the last few years is now that we were talking about this. And now they are saying, okay, we have the same quality of, comfort and education, which we can probably get in US, but at 20%, at 1/4 of the cost at US or UK education.
See,
what will you say on this?
The awareness that's being created by the New Age universities. So these universities are, opening up pathways for students to come back. Because especially if you're born in the Gulf, you're spoiled for choices. One, you're living a very cocooned, very, comfortable existence. And let's accept the fact that coming back to India, the sheer numbers, you're fighting for everything. It's a battlefield. And it's a great learning ground. So I always tell our parents at the school that at least for the undergraduation, send your children to India. Let them learn. Let them learn the Indian value systems. Let them learn, the ethos of India, the traditions of India. And then you send them out wherever you want them to go. But yes, I could only talk about my journey. When I joined in overseas, I saw 60% children would travel abroad and 40% would come to India. That has changed to 60 coming to India and 40 going to
Okay,
India.
wonderful. Yes, you're seeing that change.
Yeah,
on the ground.
and we document all this and keep it with us because it helps us understand where children are moving. And over the years, I'm also happy that parents are opening up to the fact that, they don't have to do core sciences all the time to do well in life. They're also opening up to the fact that the creative fields have a lot of, openings. So we have students who are traveling abroad or traveling to India to do design, to do integration between art and technology. And it gives us a lot of happiness when children do apparel design, accessory designs, and they're doing well for themselves.
So, one final question to you. Who should be a teacher and who should not be a teacher?
Basically, I think all human beings have the ability to teach, but then in a very professional environment, it is required that you have certain personality type. One, you can train or polish a teacher, but you should have that core call of being a teacher. Teaching is a call, and it has to come from within that. I want to be a teacher. In today's scenario, especially, there is very less being spoken on the well-being of a teacher, the training of a teacher. There's a lot of noise only from the front of the students' mental well-being.
Yes.
I believe that it's equally important that we discuss even the teachers' well-being, because with the changing scenario, with the families going through a lot, with both parents going out to work, the teacher has this prime role of acting as just not the teacher herself, but
almost
way
as a
beyond,
parent,
as a
yeah,
parent.
parent.
And somewhere in the process, I think we need to discuss and make it a common discussion point in all our fora on the well-being of a teacher, the rights of a teacher, what a teacher should be doing. I do understand teaching is a deep-seated, feeling within. You have to be passionate about teaching, but at the same time, some amount of liberty given to the teacher to exercise what she thinks is right inside the classrooms, rather than just looking at, a certain yardstick to decide who's a good teacher. Just let the teacher do her job well, help the teacher, keep the balance between professional and personal life for a teacher also. Because today, classrooms are challenging. Post-COVID, children are throwing up a lot of challenge because there is a lot of screen time that the child is addicted to. Finding the attention or thinking out of the box. I don't think when we were children, we were always told math should be the first period.
Yeah.
Now I believe math should not be the first period because children had a lot of screen time late in the night, and morning they are most of the time sleepy, drowsy.
Absolutely. Was this the case in schools also?
Oh, yes.
For us in university?
No, anywhere. I think anybody who has a phone in their hand will be addicted to something or the other, watching something on screen. And so we need to also attract the right type of people to the teaching profession. Today, we have to make it attractive, just not by saying sweet words like it's a noble profession, but also pay them well, take care of their requirements and needs, so that we attract the right type of talent. Because at the end of the day, India is a country where we have this huge population of young adults who are going to come out into the world, and if we are able to make the right impact at the right time to the right generation, and that power lies in the hands of the teachers who are entering into the classrooms.
And I think you are absolutely correct. We need to pay them well. We need to talk about their development also, and their all training and the expectations of being parents and being role models. And absolutely, I agree with you. I mean, if somebody is looking at teaching as a profession, he or she should also be ready to sign up for all these things. I mean, you should not be a teacher if you want only money. Then this is not the profession.
Absolutely no. And I would just say one line on it, that teaching is deeply gratifying profession. I don't think any other profession can give you this sort of a joy when you see your students doing well. If you as a teacher have impacted even one child, you've done it.
God bless you. Hare Krishna. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
An absolute honor, and more power to you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
inviting
being
me
here with us.
over, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am.